Hey everybody, Bob Lutz and Paul Suellentrop. It's not basketball season, although the Final Four is tomorrow, but it is keeping track of Wichita State season. What are they going to do? It's sounding more and more inevitable, Paul, that they're going to go to the American Athletic Conference.
Yeah, the reporting on this is following the NCAA tournament. You know, I think when you get people gathering at NCAA tournament sites, you get people talking, and that's where these stories are coming out. And now it's Phoenix, where we've had a couple reports that are saying Wichita State could be in as far as soon as 2017-18. And that pretty much fits with, people that you've talked to, people that I've talked to, reporting that we've done. People aren't putting their names on these reports at this point because it's kind of the way these things go. But there just seems to be increasing momentum, and nobody's throwing up any stop signs as far as Wichita State and the American.
Yeah, it's funny how this stuff works. You hear it from all over, yet you don't hear it from anybody officially. Yet, what's your view on how the folks at Wichita State in the athletic department, the coaches, the athletes, what do you think they're thinking about all this?
I think they are excited, intrigued. I think there are some of them, will be a big change for almost all of them, either from a travel or a competition standpoint. Although that varies from sport to sport. I think in women's basketball, obviously with UConn and some of those schools, it would be a big change for men's basketball. In volleyball, not so much. Missouri Valley Conference volleyball is really good, maybe even better than the American. So I think they understand it's a men's basketball related move. They're kind of along for the ride. So I think there's a lot of different feelings, but it certainly will be different and challenging.
Yeah, and it's been long discussed. It appears that the time is now, and I think it's a tremendous move for Wichita State. There's some angst in terms of how's the American going to stay together. There's obviously teams in that conference that would like to maybe be elsewhere at some point. But this may be a first move for Wichita State. Make the move to the American, see how things shake out over the next 3 to 5 years in college athletics, and go from there.
Is that the biggest downside or the only downside in your view, that in 5 years or 8 years Wichita State could be in a kind of a glorified Conference USA and things don't look so good?
Yeah, but I don't even think that's necessarily much of a downside. I think things have a way of working out, and Wichita State right now is at an extremely high level in college basketball. You have to capitalize on that. You have to cash in. This is a great opportunity, I feel like, with other like-minded programs, especially basketball-wise. Now, all of these schools we're talking about in the American Athletic Conference also have football, which makes Wichita State a little bit of a different animal.
And that's one of the downsides people have brought up to me, is that maybe a few years down the road you end up in a football-driven conference that is not, that has dropped in strength in basketball. In the course of talking to people around college athletics about this, one of the scenarios that I brought up, kind of that nightmare scenario, and they brought up the flip side that they had thought about or had been discussed, is that what if the Big 12 kind of breaks up, and does the American Conference find itself in a position where it picks up some attractive schools like maybe a Kansas State or an Iowa State, Texas Tech? Maybe those scenarios are out there too, far down the road when TV contracts come up for renewal. So you just don't know.
I think more than ever you have to live in the here and now and do what you think is good for your athletic program right now, and worry about the future when the future unfolds. Wichita State, if it can get into the American Conference, I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's a great move for Wichita State. What's the likelihood at this point? Feels very strong.
Yeah, it really does. You don't want to come out and say it's a done deal, because nobody's saying that. Nobody's putting their name on that at this point. But like I said, when you talk to people, nobody says slow down. Nobody says wait a minute. It just seems like it's creeping, maybe not at the pace that we would like or that fans would like, but it feels like it's moving toward that inevitable conclusion.
Let's just put it this way. There's a good chance, folks, you've seen Drake at Coke Arena for the final time. We'll talk to you soon.